Who says crafting is a dying art? I'm finding crafters all over the Middle Tennessee area who make unique items that'll be passed down for generations to come. Welcome to HandMade Tennessee. I'm Kimberly Vance with my special guest today, Linda Holland. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Kim.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Fantastic. Now, Linda owns the Main Street Bakery in Uptown McMinnville, or Downtown McMinnville. Which one is it?
We call it downtown.
Okay. I guess it depends on where you live, right? But it is downtown, I think. But anyway, what you're doing today, I'm very excited about because this is something that I've always seen and always wanted to do, but I have never known how, and I figured it was way out of my area of doability. Linda is making fondant. Now, is that how we pronounce it? Have we decided?
Some people say fondant, some people say fondant. I've never figured out really the right word. I call it fondant.
All right, let's call it fondant then. We'll go with that.
Okay.
All right, so you actually make your own fondant.
Yes, we do.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, that's absolutely amazing because I always thought that you had to buy it like in sheets or something. I'm telling you, I don't know much about it, but
you can buy it in sheets. You can buy it in a big blob. You can make your own.
All right. So instead of the big blob, you make your own.
Yes, yes.
All right. What goes in a batch of fondant?
It's unflavored gelatin, powdered sugar, water, corn syrup, and shortening.
Wow.
And then whatever flavoring you want to put in. Most people use vanilla. I like almond.
Almond seems like it gives it a little more punch, don't it?
It does.
I know a lot of people put that just in their icing too. A lot of people just put like a little, a little.
It's not like, ooh, almond. It's like, ooh, what is that?
Yeah, it's like, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you have, for the sake of time, you went ahead and made up a blob. How long does it take you to make? See, now that doesn't look like very much. It doesn't look like it's going to go very far.
That right there will cover a big old cake. That'll cover a 12 to 14-inch cake right there.
Wow.
I'm not going to cover one that big with it today. An hour to make the fondant. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it have to set up or anything?
No, you beat it, and a lot of it is dependent on the weather. Sometimes you throw it away and start all over again.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a cool area or a warm area?
It really needs to be cooler than the weather we've had lately, and not real humid. And
really?
And then once you get it the way you need it, you've either got to keep it airtight or you got to keep working it. It'll dry out on you.
If it dries out, does it crack and break?
It will. Now you can wet it back. You can add some more vegetable oil to it, or you can just spray it down with water. If you've got it, get it too sticky, you can just add some more powdered sugar to it.
All right. So if it's a little wet, it's just like icing, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A buttercream or something like that. I know I make my icing with just shortening and water and powdered sugar.
This is a little different. This is about the consistency of Play-Doh.
Wow. But it comes out so beautifully. Now, I've heard a lot of people say in the past that when they've gone like to a party or something or bought something, you know, somewhere obscure, they say that the cake looks beautiful, but it doesn't taste very good.
The fondant isn't really one of the best tasting frostings out there. But you can do things with fondant that you can't do with anything else.
Well, I'd say your flavoring adds a lot to it.
It does. It adds a lot. And the thinner that you roll your fondant out, the better it is, because you just don't have as much in a bite. I always frost my cake with buttercream before I put the fondant over it, so that if they don't like the fondant, they can peel it off, and they still have frosting.
That's a very good idea.
You want to roll it out as thin as possible. I like to get mine, if I can, down to at least a quarter of an inch, and then...
And you've been doing this so long, you don't have to measure it.
I don't measure it.
You are a professional.
I just run my hands over it and try to make sure it's even.
Now, if we didn't want to ice our cake, will the fondant still stick to it?
It'll stick to it, but it will pick up every little lump and bump on your cake. I think I've got this now.
So it would be better to frost it?
Yes, yes, it is always better to frost it. While that looks rough and bumpy, when I put this fondant over it, it's just going to smooth all that down.
Now, let me ask you, if we didn't want to do white, how do you make it a color?
Add food coloring to it.
So it's pretty simple?
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Very small amounts.
Okay.
Now, after you get through rolling it, you can still stretch it some too. You need it where when you...
Check that out. Wow.
You want to taste?
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
You know what? It's kind of like chewing gum.
It is. It is.
That's really good.
Doesn't last quite as long. Okay, then
That's tasty.
just this small one is really easy. You can just pick it up and lay it across it. I'm gonna have to wet it down. It's drying out a little bit too much. If it's too dry when you go to lay it across the cake, it will crack right around the edges.
Like split.
Yes, yes. And then you just do that.
Wow.
Okay.
Now see, this is the part that would scare me, because I'd be afraid I'd knock the cake down or something.
It's just cake. There's really nothing you can do to it. That's what I've always told all my girls that have worked for me. Don't be afraid of it. It is just cake.
You know what gets me, though? I guess I'm not so much afraid of the cake breaking. It's that I'm out of time, and somebody wants cake right now. You know, I got all the little ones, and they want cake right now. And if I break it or whatever...
Then you take your pastry bag and cover it up.
Excellent. I know you'd have some good tips for me.
Okay, now we're just going to smooth it. You smooth and you stretch and you pull until you just get it the way you want it.
Okay, and you're wetting your hands too to make it more pliable?
Yeah, it's a little sticky, more to keep my hands from sticking to it.
Because I assume that would rip it too, potentially.
Yeah. And see, I have right there, I've ripped it. But when I get done, you're not going to see that rip.
That's cool.
Now I'm just going to take the scissors.
Oh.
Normally I use a knife. I went off and forgot a knife today.
Okay.
And we're going to trim around it.
Now I assume you're purposely making that short.
Yes. Yes, because the way I'm going to decorate it, it's going to cover up all the edges, the seams, the creases.
Okay. And that's what we have for snack later, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you ever make little shapes and stuff? Couldn't you get cookie cutters, it seems like?
You can. I don't do a lot of that. The kids really enjoy doing that more. You can, if you're really artistic, I did get that a little short. If you're really artistic, you can mold with it.
Now, what do you mean mold? Like put it over?
Sculpt.
Oh, wow. Wow. That seems like that's getting into way yonder too much.
Okay.
Boy, that's pretty. That's coming out nicely.
The bigger the tier, the easier it is to do it without.
We're saying the bigger the cake?
The bigger the cake.
Piece? Okay.
Yeah, the easier it is to do it without getting folds and pleats in.
Oh, really? Now, why is that? You got more...
I really don't know.
Okay, just one of those things.
It's easier.
All right, now notice you cut a little tuck out of that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
To get it to keep from creasing?
To get it from, yeah. And I'll work it all down, smooth everything out.
Okay.
And when I get done decorating it, you're not really going to see all that.
Goodness gracious, though.
You have to work
Sounds like a lot of work.
fast so that it doesn't dry out too much on you.
Now, what got you interested in making cakes?
Something I always wanted to do. I guess shortly after I got out of high school, I took my first cake decorating class.
Really?
Then never really did that much with it. Then when my daughter got married, is when I made my first major cake.
You're kidding.
It was about 4 feet tall.
Oh, you're kidding.
And it was fondant. We had never
Wow.
worked with fondant before.
Now, that's a pretty ambitious project to be your first one.
Yes, it really was. It was too ambitious, really.
We'll have to see pictures of it sometime.
Okay. Now, normally I would have it smoothed down a
Okay.
little bit better than that.
All right.
I have these cake transfers that you can get just about any design you want on them. It's sugar paper. You cut it to size, and I have already cut it.
Oh.
You just peel it off.
Okay.
And if your cake's too dry, you can just spray it down.
And it's sugar paper,
It
edible
is sugar paper.
Now, where can we find the sugar paper?
You can find this at just about any cake decorating store. if you're really into it, you can go online and buy what you need for your home computer.
You know what? That's what I started to say. I've heard somebody recently who said that they saw somebody who knew somebody who somebody else had a printer, and they put the piece of sugar paper, or a special type of paper.
Well, it's a special paper. It's a sugar paper, and then it takes a special ink.
Okay. And you could do that on your regular computer. Golly.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you need a separate computer for it.
Seems like you would, don't it?
Yeah, I'll peel that.
Boy, that's pretty. Now, are you purposely putting that a little bit apart?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I hope my measurements work out.
If they don't, I'm sure it'll still be fantastic and delicious.
Well, we hope so.
So how many cakes do you figure you've made like this now over the years?
Oh.
Too many to count?
Yeah. I wouldn't know where to start. Right now, the girls aren't getting into the big wedding cakes as much. They kind of come and go.
Yeah. You talking about the brides nowadays?
Yeah, the brides are going more for smaller cakes, not so fancily decorated.
See, something like this that would be right on time.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. So any kind of sugar paper that you get, you just need to put it on.
Yeah.
It looks like you have measured that perfectly.
That's a little big. And if you don't measure it exactly right, just take it off and cut it.
Wow.
Like I say, it's just cake and sugar.
Now, have they always made these, or are these sugar papers kind of a new thing?
This is something fairly new. The big decorators have had them for years. It's only been recently that you could buy them, that the general public could buy them. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
You can layer them.
Now, I noticed that you spray in that. It did not ruin it.
No.
So that's pretty good.
Now, if you get it too wet, it will run. And then you just cover it up with some more frosting. I'm doing this without marking it, so it's not going to be exactly perfect.
And that is a little bit sticky, isn't it?
It
because
is.
of the water you've been spraying.
Yes. But it'll dry out.
Now, if we were going to make something like this for a function, how much in advance could you make this?
Well, it would depend. Oh, how far in advance?
Yeah, like the fondant. How far in advance can you make the fondant?
I like to not do it more than a couple of days. Once you decorate it, it's kind of hard to seal it up, and it will get kind of hard on you.
Do you like working with it though overall?
I do. Most of the time I do. Occasionally you'll have a cake that it's just like, why did I ever take this cake? Okay. Now that's pretty much got that.
Okay.
Now I'm going to stack it.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
I just happen to have that one sitting here. This too is another part that would terrify me. Look at that. Now you've moved that, and it's not.
Now, if you go any higher with it, you would have to support it with dowels. You don't want to get your cake too many layers of cake.
Like down inside the cake, you'd have to put something in there?
You punch the dowels straight down through the cake.
Okay.
And this layer is actually not sitting on the cake, but it's sitting on the dowels.
Okay. And that's to keep it from tipping over if you did another.
Collapsing.
But this right here is pretty okay, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I always wonder, too, when you see a layer cake, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to cut the top layer first, you know, when you go to serve it?
Some of the brides want to save their top layer. If you've got one that's really built up, I suggest you take the layer down to cut it and not try cutting up here. You'll end up with toppling your cake over. On a cake this size, I just start cutting here. When that was gone, just going
Start cutting
down.
the bottom. See, I always wondered if you needed to just cut, you know, right around there or what. All right, so you're filling in now the sugar
Now I'm
paper.
covering up
and that's
all-
what, okay. Yeah, I can see where you've done that there too. Oh, that's amazing. So that's why you spaced them a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, what do you have in this bag here?
This is buttercream.
All right.
It's just a basic
Buttercream,
shortening,
I see.
powdered sugar, water, and flavor.
Now, what do they call the one, this has always gotten me, that's buttercream with the shortening, the water, the powdered sugar. What is the one that's butter?
That's a true buttercream.
Oh, okay.
A true buttercream will not stay white. It will turn
Oh,
yellow.
because of the butter.
When the air gets to it, it will, not yellow, it'll turn cream, ivory.
Okay. So that's how you could tell then,
Yeah.
if you needed to know the difference.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Because when somebody says buttercream, I always think of butter. You
The
know,
good
they've
thing
got
about
butter in
using
it.
this, if you're using a true buttercream, you can't leave it setting out. If you've got an outdoor function in August and it's 100 degrees outside,
Yeah.
you cannot leave a true buttercream out. It will
No.
spoil, it will fall off. This, now if it gets hot enough, this will fall off. But it won't spoil. It doesn't have any water in or any milk in it, any butter.
Nothing.
It's nothing that's going to go bad on you.
So it won't spoil, it'll just look bad.
If it gets hot enough, it will. As long as you
like,
don't get them in the sun, they're usually okay.
Do you find that people eat more cake in the summer or the winter, or is there a difference?
I don't know if there's a difference.
Cake is good all year round.
It
isn't
is. It is. Now see, I'm going to hide all this up here that didn't work out exactly right.
So you've got a little bit of room for error. I like
Yes.
that. That is really pretty. Tell you what, according to this, it looks like you've just whipped this thing up. What
Well-
people don't know is that you had most of this done.
I did have most of this done. Now, right here, I marked that bottom layer.
No, I noticed
And
that.
I'm just I marked it so that my straps would be even.
Okay.
And I'm just covering up my marks.
Because I thought if that's the piece you were going to cut, that's some big old cake
No.
pieces down there.
Okay. Now, I like to find the best looking side of it.
Oh, is that like your glue?
And this, yes, I use that as a glue. You use it as a cover up. And this we're using as a topper.
Oh,
I just grabbed that on my way out the door today.
isn't that beautiful? Oh, that is gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
That is so neat. Now, something like this normally would take you quite a while to do.
This particular cake would take 8 to 10 hours. Yeah.
Wow. That's something else. What all tools would we need? If we were going to do this, we decided that we're going to take up the fine art of fondant making. What all tools would we
Well,
need?
besides your mixer, rolling pin, I use scissors, knives, my spatulas, my pastry bags and tips, keep a spray bottle of water. I always need powdered sugar. You always need a little bit of cooking oil around.
Like a vegetable oil?
Yeah.
Okay. And then shortening? Also,
And
did you say
well,
you put shortening in the recipe?
Put shortening in the recipe,
Okay.
but now when I'm working with it, sometimes I'll use water, sometimes I'll use oil. It just, sometimes I'll pick up the pan spray and spray it down.
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Yeah. So,
Huh. Well, that's neat. Does the cooking oil ever discolor it? Does
no,
it make
I
it
never
look-
have had it discolored. I had one time that had terrible cracks in it, and I just took and got really wet with cooking oil, put a little puddle on it, and just worked up a paste, and it just filled my cracks in. And when it dried, you couldn't tell there was ever anything wrong with it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I never thought about using vegetable oil, you know, just a cooking oil to fix my boo-boos there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. All right, now how expensive would you say this is? I know the fondant, obviously, that is work.
Yes.
That's a lot of kneading and stuff. Now, did you say it takes you about an hour just to make the fondant?
To actually make the fondant.
And then how long do you figure you have to knead that and work that out?
Well, like I said, that depends on the weather, a lot of it, as to how it has come out. It's a lot like making divinity candy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes longer. I'll knead on it usually 15, 20 minutes. And then I'll cut out a chunk and I'll put the rest of it over here and seal it up, work with this piece. And then sometimes I have to add more oil to this or add more powdered sugar to it, depending on how long it has sat there. You know.
So when you're working, a good rule of thumb is to make sure and wrap it up.
Yes,
the part that you're
always
not working,
wrap it up.
Seal it
now
like
this, I throw these away. I don't even fool with that. But yeah, if it's a big enough piece that I'm going to be using it over again, always wrap it up. You can't just put it in a container with a lid. You have to wrap it in plastic wrap and get all the air out of it.
Wow. And then put it in something?
And then put it in something.
So it's like you need to treat it like a piece of gold.
Yes.
Now,
a lot of times when I'm working with it, I'll just lay a damp rag across it right here. You know.
Oh, okay.
But when you're putting it away for the day, yeah, seal it up really tight.
Like if you're making a double blob batch.
Yes.
All right. Now, where in the world? This is fun right here. See, I may need to borrow this here.
I'm thinking, go after George
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking he might need this upside his noggin sometime. I get a lot of leverage with that.
This is a commercial rolling pan. You can't just go to the store and buy these. I actually got this when we were in the donut business. This is what we rolled our donuts out with.
Oh, you're kidding?
No. I used to use my mother's little wooden rolling pan for the fondant. And when we got in the donut business, we got that. So.
Yeah. Does a wooden roller work just as well?
It does, but if you're doing a sizable cake and you've got to roll out a piece this big, it's really hard to do it with a...
Now, I've got a small wooden one at home, and it's good for biscuits and stuff like that. But I also then have a plastic one that you put water in. Have you ever seen one of those?
I've never used one of those. I've seen them.
It's all right. It makes it heavier, you know, and it works pretty good.
That's one reason I like this one, because it is so heavy.
That's nice. That's very nice. But that is an industrial grade.
Yes, it is.
And then, of course, they might be wondering what you have in here.
That's my powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar. That's pretty cool. Boy, that is delicious. Now, I can't believe that that's come out like that. You made that look absolutely so simple. See, I'm thinking when I need to impress some company or something like that, I could whip one of these up.
You could, or if you didn't want to, you could call me and I'll whip it up for you. Well, that's what I was going to say, is because my whipping time is not always what I think it's going to be. You know, I think, oh, I'll do that, and it'll be done here in just a few minutes, and that's not the case. No, not on these. These take a few hours.
Do you have a website where we can see some of the things?
I do not have a website. I have a storefront, Main Street Bakery and Cafe, 114 West Main, straight across from the Old Park Theater.
Now, we can also like you on Facebook.
You can like me on Facebook, Main Street Bakery and Cafe.
I know that's where I saw some of your cake designs. You had a castle.
Yes.
Yes. Castle that was absolutely incredible.
Yes. Yes. That was an order that I sent out. I did a Cinderella that was like this tall for my granddaughter. She gets the big ones.
Oh, yeah. She gets them, right? Yes. She tells Granny what to do.
Yes, she tells Granny what she wants. Yes. Her daddy's getting a blue birthday cake next week. I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do with that.
You just know it's going to be blue?
It's going to be blue. It's going to be blue cake. Not blue on the outside. It's going to be blue on the inside.
How would you do that? A little food coloring?
That'll be food coloring. We hadn't figured out what we're going to do on the outside of it.
That'll be fun. He probably deserves something really good.
He does. He does.
All right. Anything else that you need to tell us? Oh, well, how do we find you on Facebook, by the way?
Main Street Bakery and Cafe.
Okay.
Phone number is 474-2253.
All right.
474-BAKE.
Oh, okay.
Or
that's
cake.
Cool.
Works out the same.
Oh, that's nice.
We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 2. From Saturdays, 7 to 11.
All right. And how long do we need to give you to make, say, a cake of this magnitude?
I like to have 3 to 4 days minimum. On the really big ones, I like to have a couple of weeks' notice.
All right, cool. So like anything that's coming up, maybe give you some time to do it.
Yeah.
And we can see some of your samples on your Facebook.
Yes.
Because I've seen some beautiful ones. They're so fun.
And I have a lot of pictures at the bakery.
All right, cool. So we can stop by and say hi, have a little bite, see what kind of wares you got going.
We do breakfast and lunch too. You can come in and eat breakfast or lunch, and we'll fix you up with a cake.
All right.
Take your order.
Maybe a little sample in there. Do you ever do samples?
We do cake tastings, yes. Now that we have to schedule because we don't have that stuff all the time. So we have to schedule that. But yes, we do cake tasting.
Do you have that on your Facebook page when it's time to come up for a cake tasting?
No, I don't think I do.
So just drive by the window and see if you got a sign up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. By the way, that's area code 931.
Yes.
In case they're not in McMinnville, they can
Yes.
give you a call. Well, I'll tell you what, this is really cool. I can't wait to cut into that. But it seems like a shame to cut into it because it's so pretty.
Well, everybody always hates to cut into them, but if people don't cut their cakes, then they don't come back to order another one.
That's true. 'Cause
You
it's so
can't
pretty
keep
to
it
hate.
forever.
Yeah. That's a shame too, ain't it? Because now that looks like more like a work of art.
You take a picture of it and you cut it and eat it.
Boy, that hurts. All that work that went into it. Well, that is absolutely stunning. Thank you very, very much for coming up here today. This is neat because I've been wondering, like I told you, when I was begging you to come, I said, I want to learn how to work the fondant.
Well,
so,
come up and I'll let you do one.
all right, I'll come up and play around with you there. That'll be fun. We'll have a good
do
time.
some different things. We'll do some bows. And
Cool.
there's a lot of different things you can do with it.
Or again, I may just call you. By the way. Thank you, dear. I really appreciate you coming on. Well, that's our show for today. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us at handmadetn@bltv.net or like us on Facebook at HandMade Tennessee. Thanks very much to our special guest today, Linda Holland of Main Street Bakery. Thank you, dear. I really appreciate you coming. I'm Kimberly Vance, and I hope you've been inspired to create your own HandMade Tennessee. If you enjoyed today's show, check us out on Facebook for other shows and information at www.facebook.com/HandmadeTennessee. You can also email us your comments or suggestions to handmadetn@bltv.net.